Well. How is everyone? How has the weekend been? It is now that time of the week where we do an AniManga Club. Isn't that so nice? I hope you guys have been enjoying the recommendation for this week, or this round, so to speak, because I guess we're gonna be watching / reading this for another week, so not exactly the same or whatnot. I think we need a new poll for Spice and Wolf, by the way. I couldn't possibly stop mid-arc, so I read until chapter 16 or 17. Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up as well today. Two things on account of that. I'll wait a little bit to reiterate this, but I'll say it now as well. For the case of shows that have a next season, it is going to be included in the round of votes if people want to continue it or move on to the next category. However, inevitably, the category will continue, so to speak. So once we're done with Spice and Wolf, we'll move on to the next category nonetheless. It's just determining whether or not we put it off or if we want to continue it. So, if anything, I'm glad to hear that you were so eager to read it, even if it was maybe a mid-arc Helios. I really like Spice and Wolf, so I'm very much glad to hear that other people are enjoying it as well, that you guys are enjoying it as well. I can swap over maybe to a game to have on in the background. Yet again, it's going to be a little bit of Peglin. And for anyone who knows Peglin, it's basically just Peggle, but with goblins instead. Let's see if I can expand the size of this. Oh my goodness. It doesn't exactly show if I'm going out of this. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Now I can see whether or not I'm at pixel perfect. Well, I mean, chapter 13 was in the middle of the arc. I at least wanted that arc finished. That's like writing a message and stopping mid-word. It is, but at the same time, the anime kind of did that as well because they already knew that they were confirmed for a second season. So the reason why it happens like that is because of the anime, partly, since we're reading a certain amount of chapters, and obviously we don't want to just stop right then and there. I think we're going to continue discussing the first 6 episodes, however. And not... But chapter 13 is like episode 6, roughly. Let me check. Spice and Wolf manga. Because I watched the 2008 one to give me a recap. But I also began watching the 2008 one at the same time, because I'd never watched the 2024 one. So what I've done is I've read the manga years ago, like over a decade ago. Then I watched the anime, but now I'm rewatching the anime and I've not watched the 2024 one. I just know that it's an expanded version of it. When I started watching, I watched one ep of 2008 and 2024 and read chapter 1, and chapter 1 ended mid-episode 1. Oh. Yeah, I was thinking to myself that it was going to be slightly longer in terms of that, but I've heard that it's approximately the 4th volume, I think it was. The 4th volume is the entire first season of the 2008 one, but for the manga, I think it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. So I assume it was going to be 12 to 13 episodes or chapters for 6 episodes. I think you're right about that one. I just have to double check because, oh my gosh, it's so annoying to figure out how to read this now. I would have to check some like online manga site to see how that correlates, because my gosh, it's difficult otherwise. Let's see. No, that's not it. That's very much not it. That's a spin-off. Otherwise, how have you guys been? How have you guys been for the weekend, and what have you guys been up to, and what have you been doing? It's like a flat episode count multiplied by 2? I think so. I'm now checking, chapter 16, and that does look like it's approximate to it. So yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. Snacking on apples just like Hollow would. So true. The wisest of wolves. I think Hollow is so cute. My goodness, is she cute. I really love Hollow. Okay, we'll just play some games in the background while I do this. Welcome, Mr. Brown. But yeah, it's fine if you go ahead, of course. Like, I've watched the entire... I think I watched the entire 2008 series for the first season now, and now I'm going to rewatch it all in the 2024 version, because I've not done that, and then I might reread the manga as well while I'm at it. But I don't know where episode 6 ends, because I ended up just reading the manga. Ooh, let me quickly check the anime. And I can see, you said you ended on episode 6. So if we go to episode... Oh, okay. Episode 6 is where she's underneath, or where Lawrence and Hollow are underneath the sewers. So that's when they get confronted by one of Lawrence's old friends from Yoan. Because both versions of the anime already added a bunch of stuff in episode 1 that wasn't in the manga. It's because the 2008 one, it's a little bit messy, I think, in general, because the 2008 one and 2024 one, they adapt more of the books than they do the manga, but the 2008 one cuts it in half and then runs with some of it, but the 2024 one apparently adapts like double the amount. I heard you say Hollow is a wise wolf, and now I gotta say, Hollow is the wisest wolf. Exactly. Hollow is probably the wisest of wolves, I've gotta say. And also, I have made... Oh. Wait, I need to add it here. Just give me a second. Add browser source. I have... Let's see. A notes overlay with... an edit overlay, so I can now do this. I probably should have made this background a little bit more. Absolutely cute in human form, absolutely badass in wolf form. She is such... Like, I think one of the things that I most enjoy about Spice and Wolf is just how good all the characters are, because they don't feel like they get into drama needlessly. Okay, now I need to add a filter to this so that there's, like, a shadow or something. Let's see, can I add some kind of shadow to this? Color type green, but can I change this? Why can you not apply... What does applied LUTs mean? No, I don't get what that means. I'm trying to apply an overlay. Give me a second here where I figured this out. Because I've made a new little notes overlay that I can have on screen, but I don't think there's a native way in OBS to be able to add like some kind of backdrop or shadow now that I'm realizing it. I made everything chroma keyable with green, but now I'm realizing it's made everything transparent and you can't see stuff as a result. So... that's not awesome. I've done chroma key and I've done color key, but I think maybe if I just do similarity and then I do this and then I try to remove that, maybe, and then we remove some of the spill for the color correction, maybe that works better. No, it still gets rid of most of it. It's like very difficult to see. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'll let you see what I'm working with here. Okay, so you can see that I've made this new overlay and whatnot. You can see it's on the screen. However, because I've chroma keyed out the background, I thought this would be visible enough, but it isn't really. I don't know. Is that visible enough? I'm looking at it on OBS and it's really quite small, so maybe this is enough. And we work with that. I'll shrink it so we can at least see. I wanted to have this on screen so that we can discuss and go over points in a more organized form. But at the same time, I don't want it to block the game. Let's move this here. It's going to be pretty small, but it's also for myself. So even if you guys see it quite well, I've got like a separate notepad that I'm using, and I can directly change things about it. So if I was gonna say, "Whoa, look at me. See? Now you see. Now it's on there. Now it's on there. You can see exactly how fast I type as well, which is going to be a little bit embarrassing whenever you see how slow it is. So I'm going to... Whenever I change something about it, now you'll see it on screen as well. So whenever we have discussions, I can now edit this. Isn't that so cool? I'm always adding new things for the stream. I do it for you guys. Now we have a little section to discuss and talk about it. Me gusta. Me gusta as well. Me gusta indeed. So we've got AniManga Club, Spice and Wolf, newer and fancier edition. So the points of discussion... I was going to talk about each of the characters and whatnot, and we were going to talk about some of the different elements and whatnot. Also, just in general, hello Cool, hello Mr. Brown, hello Helios, welcome to the stream and whatnot. I know that I've already said hello, but I feel like I should do it just in case, because I feel like I've forgotten to say hello to someone. Hello Mr. Streamer, I've got a name, okay? I've got a name. I've got a name. So episode 6, and just for clarification, do just in case? No, just in case isn't here. He's not a real person. I know I keep bringing him up every now and then. Okay, hi Rondel. That's my last name. You're referring to me I don't know, I'm a senior or something. What is this about? You know when you address your teacher with a last name? That's kind of how it feels like you're interacting with me. Rondel-san. No. No, that's not me. I'm just your friendly neighborhood's Auger Rondel. You can interact with me as you would any of your friends, you know? Unless I'm in teacher mode. Unless I'm in lecture mode, then we've got a bit of a problem with you addressing me so impolitely. So I think now it's fine. However, to answer your question, Helios, yeah, episode 6 is whenever Hollow was in the sewers with Lawrence and whatnot. So he basically wants us to become parasocial. Can you believe this? I'm not asking you to become parasocial. I'm just talking in general that you don't need to do this, okay? Friendly neighborhood Auger man. I'm glad you included the hyphen. One of the most important parts about it is the hyphen. So... good on you. Good on you for doing that. I always knew I could count on you, Mr. Brown. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, but let's first do a little bit of a general evaluation. How do you guys feel? And I'm going to write down some notes as well. Hopefully this works the way I intend it. It's been a little bit since I've worked with Markdown, but we'll talk about general feelings about Spice and Wolf. What do you guys think about it? Personally, I think I'm very biased, so I would love to hear what you guys thought about Spice and Wolf before I get into all of my all of my biases towards it. But gosh, I really love Spice and Wolf for a lot of different things. I think I can start off listing a couple of mine, but one of the main things that I really enjoy about Spice and Wolf is just how mature the characters feel. They feel like anytime there's an argument, they're always able to resolve things between each other. They're not so childish that they're unable to have discussions either. I feel like anytime they do get into an argument, it's usually lighthearted or teasing. Most and every single one of the arguments that they have, it's yeah, it was really dumb that I did this, or yeah, it really sucks that this happened or whatnot, but then they just get over it. They're like, yeah, I understand, but why aren't you more mad with me about the situation? That I really appreciate. I think having very mature characters that are able to interact with each other that aren't teens and whatnot, to be somewhat self-confident in what they do or have their own professions and tease each other about it. I don't know. I very much enjoyed the whole maturity of each of the characters, and I think it reflects that pretty well with Lawrence and Hollow's interactions, because even though Lawrence is I think he's 25 approximately, in the manga and show, just in general, he's 25. But his interactions with Hollow, you can see he's very inexperienced whenever it comes to certain ways of life. But in both of their interactions, you can see Hollow has barely interacted with other people, and so she's got some outdated ideas, which I really enjoy. All the economy stuff went right over my head, to be completely honest, lol, but I love the interactions with people, mostly Hollow and Lawrence. Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts as well, because their interactions, especially when they're on the carts and everything, to be interacting with each other and just, like, having fun throughout their journey while they're just like perusing around, going from one place to another. I really like that. I really do like that. It was kind of refreshing once seeing the interactions where most people aren't just completely annoying or evil, though I don't like Chloe. Chloe was very evil. So the 2008 anime added the girl in the beginning while she didn't exist at all in the manga. Yeah. They wanted some things streamlined in order to, like, have a more clear direction, I suppose. I don't know exactly if that's a good justification or description of it, but that is generally what they decided for it. Was that Chloe? The blonde-haired girl? I think so, yes. That was her. The conversations and arguments felt very mature. It was as if this was a high school anime, that was what... Do you by HS, do you mean high school anime? That one scene where they disagreed would have taken 12 episodes to resolve the misunderstanding. That's exactly how I feel. I feel like I'm very biased towards, like, a lot of interpersonal drama and other romance animes or shows and whatnot, because most of the time whenever they handle interactions between different characters and so on, it always feels like it's based on the premise of misunderstandings and different social conceptions of it. So for instance, oh, I can't be talking to him because of this, I can't be talking to him because of that. But, like, when Lawrence interacts with Hollow, it doesn't matter to him that Hollow is hundreds of years older. He knows that Hollow is hundreds of years older. He knows that he can't do anything about it, and Hollow even comments on the whole fact, like, you're gonna die way before I do. So I saw a bit of the 2024 anime episode 1, and I saw it was some dude instead of Chloe, so it surprised me. Yeah, she gets changed around a bit. They just wanted to make it a little bit, I guess, tense between Hollow and whatnot. Yeah, in the manga as well, there was only a dude. He talked to him in the village, even at the scene at the end of episode 1 in the bed did not exist in the manga. Oh, so it was originally the guy, okay? So I decided to read the manga instead. Yeah, pretty much. It's it can be conflated a little bit, I think. Hello guys, currently watching season 2 of DMC. How are you doing, Virgil? Have you watched Spice and Wolf? How's your Spice and Wolf watching going? We're just discussing some of the characters and whatnot now. But I do agree very much with, if this would have been like a high school drama thing, I think it would have dragged out a little bit too long. But as I was mentioning, with the interactions that they have between, let's say, Hollow and Lawrence, the fact that they get over their differences so quickly and never heard of it. Wait, Virgil, what do you mean never heard of it? This is this week's or this round's AniManga Club. It's in the discussion. You voted, didn't you? Let's see. For second round votes. Let's see. Yeah, you voted. What do you mean you don't know Spice and Wolf? You voted during this round for My Dress Up Darling instead of Spice and Wolf. But Spice and Wolf won, so we're doing it this round instead. I don't? What? I'm so confused. What do you mean I don't? Oh, wait? Yeah! Dude, you voted for it already! You voted for My Dress Up Darling instead of Spice and Wolf. That's why. So we're reading and / watching Spice and Wolf instead this week. Or this round. Is the one with the wolf girl? Yep. That's the wolf. And she... I don't know who's meant to be the Spice exactly, but maybe it's Lawrence. So, you know, it's either one of them. I think Hollow probably with all of the apples. Maybe the apples are the spices and whatnot. Yes. Okay, cool. He's a spicy man, I guess. I suppose so. I know it. I always thought she was a kitsune. No! She's a wolf! She's the wisest of wolves! That's why in the Japanese version she says Okami. Because she's technically a god wolf. Or a wolf god. Because she's the goddess of the harvest. So... but there are more of her. Not, like, exactly like her, but she's one of the oldest, therefore wisest, of wolves of the pack. You learn some more about the stuff later into the series, as well as through the... I think the manga for sure goes into more detail about it, but yeah, she's like hundreds of years old. I will say she does encounter... Like, you do get full or proper lore about some of her interactions with other wolves from her pack. So, whoa, old. She's not old. She's still young and youthful. It's just that wolves like her live for hundreds of years. So, well, I love kitsunes in this household. I love all monster girls. All monster girls deserve a lot of love. Especially, well, no, not especially. I won't be unfair to each of them. I love all monster girls. So, we love what? Excuse me, Mr. Brown. What were you about to say? What are you trying to say, Mr. Brown? How dare you? How dare you? Either way, I think the... Don't worry about it. She's a little too youthful, though, IMO. Wait, Helios, she's hundreds of years old. Wait, what do you mean, too youthful? How does this work? Lamias? Yeah, Lamias are good as well. I'm thinking... Because I don't want to say that I have a favorite. I do kind of bias myself towards kitsunes, but I think... Oh gosh, I just like them all. Like Lamias, Arachne, Scylla, kitsunes, harpies. There's so many good ones. I would say even like zombies, cyclops, trolls, and centaurs and everything. I like them all. All monster girls deserve love. So the vampire from Bakemonogatari is fair game too. Yep. Because she's got an adult form and whatnot. Smash? I like how we just changed the entire topic of discussion from Spice of Wolf just because we begin discussing the different monster girls and everything like that. Yes, I get it, guys. But what about Lawrence and all of this? What about the romance with Hollow and Lawrence, guys? What about them? She's also hundreds, if not thousands, of years old. I think she's thousands of years old. Because she was there originally for, like, most of creation. And then she's just decided to become lazy because she can, and now she loves donuts. Well, at least in her smaller form and whatnot. Never saw Monogatari, but yeah. What romance? He's a child. In comparison, right? In comparison, Lawrence is a child. But very clearly... Hollow does not like being alone. That was her entire motivation for following along with Lawrence and them learning about each other. A 45 watch streak, by the way. Whoa, dude. A 45 watch streak? Congrats. Well, to be honest, IMHO, there hasn't been much romance yet. Lawrence just gets embarrassed all the time. It happens later on. It's a very slow burn. 31 for me, a whole month. That is indeed a whole month. That is quite a while. That is quite a while. It's kind of surprising to me that you guys have been so consistently following along with my streams and whatnot. I'm super grateful of all of that. Super grateful. An entire month of just watching me. Oop. Gosh. No wonder you guys have been here for, like, most of my embarrassing moments, I suppose. Like, quite a long time, isn't it? I mean, an entire month? What, I started this in February? Though technically I'm not going to have, and I've decided that I'm not going to have like a stream birthday or whatever until I decide I have a debut of some kind. I'm excited for the romance the whole time, lol. I like the cute moments that they have and wish Lawrence Patzer had more when they're close. I do really like that as well. I think my main enjoyment for the romance between the characters is that it does feel very much like it's earned. I know that you can always say this with certain, like, manga and whatnot, like, oh yeah, there's a slow burn to it, but this doesn't feel like it's unnecessary in terms of pacing because Spice and Wolf has ended. Spice and Wolf has ended, and it didn't feel like... Because, okay, I gotta admit, I only read insofar as the actual anime, so I never fully finished it. But I kind of intend to. Kind of. That's why I use this maybe as an excuse to eventually get back into it, but we'll see how that goes. Man, I'm sucking at this. Either way, I think that it doesn't overstay its welcome with it, hence why I feel like if anything, Spice and Wolf has a slow burn, but a well-deserved burn for how it eventually goes about its storytelling, its romance, and how Lawrence and Hollow interact with each other. So I really much enjoy that. You need a VTuber model with full 3D and commands for accessories. I will let you know very, very slightly that there is something in the works. There is something in the works. Unfortunately, it's just going to take a while. Not by my request. Like, I guess I could dump a whole bunch more money, but yeah, there is something in the works for it. But I do have to say, I wouldn't call this a slice of life after seeing the last arc. It is largely a slice of life and how it goes about it, because it's not a strict slice of life where you have a whole bunch of just regular everyday interactions and then not much else to it. It intersperses all of the traveling as your slice of life interactions with Hollow and Lawrence, where the rest of your slice of life comes from the interactions with the different merchants and whatnot. And then you have about, I want to say, like a couple of interactions between them and like discovering or figuring out the whole like wolf mystery, I want to say. Hello, Kaya. Welcome, welcome. She's in the YouTube chat, by the way, guys. Since I've got my chats connected, so I can see Kaya's in there. Kaya, have you done your due diligence and read Spice and Wolf for this week? I would say it's a romantic drama, and that's it. I feel like maybe. Okay. That depends entirely on how we begin to define slice of life, because slice of life definition, because I would think slice of life is usually when you have a whole bunch of interactions that are just day-to-day life things, and this is very much the whole story to Spice and Wolf. It's everything that Lawrence would do in his every day-to-day life. The only difference is that Hollow is there to interact with him, and then you have a couple of interactions with the whole, like, her actually being a wolf aspect, and then that adds some drama to it. The definition of slice of life is no drama, for me at least. I don't think I agree with that. I think there can still, well, if we look at, like, slice, I only don't agree with it in that it's not how I would define slice of life. Slice of life, to me, also has drama in it, and you did read it. You read the manga. Well, Kaya. Reading the manga, I see. Did you manage to read, was it, I don't know, 12 to 14 chapters then, or how far through it did you get? Everything else is just action or drama? I don't know about that. Because because anytime you have slice of life, drama will inevitably be a part of it in order to prove or provide some kind of motivation for the characters in it to develop as a part of like a meta progression or commentary on something, which is how I think Spice and Wolf does it as well. It's just that there are like 2 scenes in the story where you have somewhat supernatural influence and whatnot. I sure hope Kaya also read until like chapter 17. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Motivation? Where's your motivation? True. I don't know where Kaya is in terms of the manga and whatnot, but I suppose we'll see. Oh gosh, I really like multi-ball. Yeah, we can take multi-ball. And then we can try to get upgrades and whatnot. Ooh. Next act, enemies will gain 1 Merskridor every other time you fire. No, we're not going to take this. I'm just going to play this for fun. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I feel like if we look at the list of slice of life anime, and just look through some of them, you've got a whole bunch of them which include levels or elements of drama. Like, if you look at, let's see, let's take some of the first one, because I don't consider Tensura, or that time I got reincarnated as a slime, to be a slice of life. I mean, maybe? There's still, like, drama and whatnot to some of them. It's so very weird, I think. that it's for whatever reason categorized as that. But even in like daily life with monster girls, there's some kind of drama in some of the interactions. Oh, I'm not talking about the supernatural part. It's about the whole thing of being hunted and kidnapped and such. Yeah, that is drama for sure. It's just, at least I would say it still has a majority of slice of life moments, hence why I would still qualify it as being very slice of life for that. Oh, I forgot to suggest a superhero anime, lol. Yeah, a lot of you guys forgot to suggest a superhero anime, but it's fine. It's fine. We're going to give, or at least I'm going to give this week, we're going to see as well in the round of voting if this is the show that we continue watching for a good while. Because, of course, for the next round of votes, how we're going to do things is we're going to include Spice and Wolf second season as a part of the list of things to vote for. Just so you guys know. And that's how we're going to do it. Is there still next time until next Sunday? Yeah, we can do... Or, well, no, because I would have to close it off. I'll have to give until basically the end of the stream. But, yeah, anything you don't include. Because it has been an entire week, and pushing it would make it even harder to keep up with it, is the difficulty. For me, personally, the truest form of slice of life is flying, which or non-biori. No, Tensura is action. I agree. Tensura is way too much action to be considered slice of life, yet it's in the category for whatever reason. That's why I have a little bit of difficulty with saying, oh, yeah, that's slice of life. I don't know why it's there, but sure. Whether we continue or not, I will continue in my own time. Yeah, we're going to do a vote for it in the next round of voting, but that doesn't mean that we lose the superhero category. That just means that it will be put off for next round or whatever. Which is why I'd say Spice and Wolf is more of a drama than a slice of life. I'm still of the opinion that Spice and Wolf is slice of life. But I don't know. We can do a poll for it. Let's do that. What do you guys think? Mal doesn't categorize Spice and Wolf as a slice of life. Yeah, but Mal also doesn't categorize things with, like, superhero. Do we agree that Mahou Shoujo qualifies as superhero? I think it does. So you're free to recommend that, and then Spice and Wolf second season will be included as a part of the vote. So, is Spice and Wolf a slice of life? Let's see. Yes. No. No, but has elements. No, but has elements of it. And then we can see. I'll put it on for like 10 minutes, because it doesn't really matter if people join in. We can see what their opinions are whenever we get to it. Otherwise, yeah, I think for me, at least in terms of definition, slice of life is whenever a majority of your show interacts or engages with the daily lives of characters, and that's why, in my personal and professional expert opinion, I would say that Spice and Wolf is a slice of life to me. So that's why I at least qualify it as that. Otherwise, in general, and reminder as for what category this is, it's a part of the romance category, which I think it is, because Spice and Wolf has a lot of romance elements since it's about them learning of each other and eventually coming to understand each other and then learning to love each other. I think it should be 2 separate votes, by the way. One, continue Hollow, yes or no. If no, then we vote on the superhero suggestions. We can, I can put that as the next poll in that case. Oh, actually, it's difficult with timings. The reason why I wanted to include it and not have it as a staged one was because due to how the timings are, it would look something like we do this week of suggestions, but very clearly we've only got one suggestion for superhero anime / manga, which we can't really do. Which means that one would just win by default. In which case, it would have to be, we need more time for suggestions to see what people suggest. Therefore, let's say it runs on for a couple more days, unless we speed it up. Runs on for a couple more days, then we have to do a vote, and from that vote, then we also have to include the yes or no, but then next week we're technically done with Spice and Wolf, which means we already need to have it decided there. as to whether or not we continue it. But then once we've done that vote, then we need a couple more days so everyone has the chance to vote for it, which means we won't be fully decided. At least that's the timeline of events in my head. So we would have to be kind of cramped. Do we have to choose superhero genre specifically or superpower? Because I don't really see a superhero tag. Yeah, you have to choose with superhero or superpower. But the issue with superpower is that it will include a whole bunch of stuff like Mob Psycho, but I'm thinking much more like traditional superhero or Madoka Magica. We agreed that it has to include transformation/costumes and fighting evil as a theme. There's no specific tag on mount. Exactly. The only thing that I would see as superhero is My Hero Academia. There's more. There's like Kaiju number 8. There's My Hero Academia, of course, Macadamia Nuts. There's all of Mahou Shoujo, because I include that as being superhero, but it's, well, much more Japanese in that sense. Then I would include One Punch Man. I would include... Oh, what is that? The Kamen Rider one. I wanted to be a Kamen Rider thingy, but I'm not good. And then there's like Failure Superhero or something. Sailor Moon Pretty Cure and such would count as well. Yeah, I agree. Zetsman maybe? I've never heard of Zetsman. What My Hero Academia, huh? What do you mean, Kaya? I'm trying to describe what we define as the superhero genre for anime. Love After World Domination is in there too. Let's see. Superhero anime. Because I remember we looked into this as well. I would not say Dragon Ball counts. Tiger and Bunny is another one. Oh, To Be Hero is another one as well, because the entire point is that he wants to be a superhero. What else is there? Gosh, I hate ads. I hate ads. Let's see. Go Loser Ranger. That's it. That's the one I was thinking of as well. That one counts. So there are quite a few. To Be Hero X. I agree with that. So there are quite a few like animated superhero ones that we got. And again, this was chosen by the random category picker. So maybe Beastars too, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd say Beastars. I also don't want to watch furry propaganda. Oh, I could only hear half of my sentence? What? What? How can you only hear half of my sentence? Is your internet that bad, Kaya? Is it that bad that you just cannot hear anything else I have to say? Is that really how it works? But yeah. The next category is superheroes. So either we continue with what we have now, which is Spice and Wolf, or we move on to... What do I want to remove here? We move on to the superhero one. Furry propaganda. Yeah, it is! Beastars is furry propaganda, okay? Also, there's Shugochara, which I actually watched twice. I've never heard of that one. So bad. Yeah, your Wi-Fi is really, really bad, Kaya. Unfortunate. What do I want to remove from here? I think I have to remove this one, and then we can see. Does that increase? Okay. At least it deals 1 damage now. Shugochara mention. I've never heard of it. What is that? But otherwise, how did you guys feel about the characters individually? I would like to hear your thoughts as well, Kaya, since you kind of missed some of the discussion that we spoke of. But how do you feel about each of the characters? What do we think of... Let's start with Lawrence, because I feel there's so much to say about Hollow besides her being the wisest wolf and being the cutest character in the show. It's a magical girl one about a girl going to a patisserie school. Never heard of it. Let's Google it. Shugo... Okay, yeah, never seen it. This looks like it's a slice of life one, so I've never seen it as a result. Or at least very cutesy. I did watch a little bit of Precure, but not this. I love how Hollow is like a big sis to Lawrence despite being smaller. Says Kaya. Lawrence should shave. How dare you? Lawrence is just trying to be slightly masculine because I don't think he has much else to it. I feel a little bit bad for Lawrence, but, you know, he's doing his best, and that's what matters. That's what I think about him. I like Lawrence, though. It's more romantic in nature. Oh, okay, so it's more of a romance? That's probably why. I seriously don't know what to choose for superhero anime. I think I'll just let others decide and vote later. Yeah, feel free to. Screw you, Kaya. Lawrence's beard isn't that grown in yet. Yeah, his beard isn't really there. He just doesn't really have one in general. But I do kind of feel like he should embrace being cute. No, Lawrence still wants to be a respected merchant and whatnot. I don't think he's looking for that all that much. I would at least say that what I like about Lawrence is that he is very business-minded in the sense that he gets things done. Like, no matter the situation, I really feel like even I don't like that he's sometimes a pansy whenever it comes to interacting with Hollow, but if we're looking at this through the perspective of a medieval merchant, I can kind of understand it. I can kind of understand where Lawrence is coming from. I just think, like, at the same time, I probably wouldn't be as terrified as Lawrence was of Hollow whenever she turns into a giant wolf. So I much prefer Lawrence whenever he's focused on all of his merchant politics, so to speak. He's way better then, rather than most of the other time, I suppose. You should embrace being cute. You're no fun. Kaya, I don't think Lawrence needs or wants to be cute. He's already got Hollow to be cute for him. If they made the wrong choice for Lawrence's VA, I would have wanted a slightly deeper voice. I don't know. I think Lawrence is fine as he is, in my opinion. Lawrence is a well-rounded character all around. Oh, well, that's a little bit oxymoronic, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean. Or a little bit redundant. But yeah. Fukujun, his VA tends to voice that kind of smart character, so I thought it was very suitable. I think so as well, because Lawrence is a very, like, intellectual character. He's very merchant-minded and very business-centric, but I like that he has the ability to get her done whenever it comes to, economics and money and currency and all of that. At least I really like whenever he gives those talks to Hollow about, yeah, so whenever you go into a new market, this is how much the trade value is for these items, and this is the exchange rate for it. I think it's really good demonstrations of his economic and merchant expertise. Yeah, like, he was too cowardly every time she transferred. I'm like, come on, she's so cool. Yeah, right? I really think Lawrence is too much of a coward, but I do think that he's very competent in what he does. Every one unique upgraded slash downgrade. I've never seen this. Also, you guys don't agree that Spice and Wolf is a slice of life? I'm kind of surprised by that. I hate the scammer dude, though. He has a stupid face. I remember Okami mentioning this. Wait. I can pull up the message that that Okami wrote about this, because he said something very similar. He said, let's see. Zeren must be set upon by a pack of wild dogs, by the way. Like, he completely agrees. So yeah, and I said he's got the monastery boy bowl haircuts if it weren't for the absolute size of his sideburns. Based on what I read in the manga, he seemed much more intelligent or smart in the beginning, but when it came to logic about what's going on with the silver deal, he was suddenly borderline brain dead just to make Hollow seem even wiser, which I didn't like. I think it's a little bit of a pressure all around. I think he's kind of consistently written because he is still a somewhat naive merchant in that sense. And it's even mentioned to him by Hollow a couple of times, as well as his interactions with other characters that he meets eventually, that the reason why he acts the way he does is because he's incredibly trusting, and he's, as said, naive in that sense. He's got a lot of, like, business smarts where he knows how deals and whatnot should be made, he knows the theory to it, and he knows what should be done generally, but he's not very good whenever it comes to judging or assessing people's character. And even then, when he was interacting with Zeren for the silver deal and wanting to look at, like, the market cap, so to speak, of, oh, this is bound to crash and there's going to be a deficits or whatever, I think he's kind of justified in how he acted, at least as said, because I'm rewatching the 2008 anime. The 2008 anime did this pretty okay because they said he accounted for, or Lawrence accounted for the fact that he might be lying, so he doesn't overinvest, but he decides to go along with the deal anyway, to which Hollow says, yeah, but then you're kind of falling into the ploy or the schemes of what he's doing. And says to Lawrence, you're kind of naive of people. And I think, like, as well as you see with some of the future characters that Lawrence interacts with that he knows from his past, that they also see him as a little bit naive when it comes to being a merchant and whatnot. So he's not intelligent, he just has some experience then. He's intelligent, he's just not experienced, I think. It's the inverse. Because he has like merchant intelligence, but he doesn't have social intelligence. The dynamic in this case is that Hollow has a whole lot of... Wait, did you ignore me, or is it because of my Wi-Fi? What? There is no no other message, Kaya. Your last message was from 4 minutes ago now. I don't know what message you had. But the difference is that Lawrence has experience not with a lot of people like that will actively deceive him, and that's why Hollow questions him and some of his decisions and why he decides to go along with, for instance, the silver trade and then some later deals that we see. But Hollow has experience in terms of interacting with ye old people since she's hundreds of years old, which means that she can't judge character or use the knowledge of modern day because she's not used to it whatsoever. And so he fills in the gaps for her, and she fills in the gaps, or at least acts as a wall to bounce ideas off of. That's where Hollow comes in and helps him. Exactly, Kosan, exactly. What? The scammer dude's stupid face? What do you mean, the scammer dude's stupid face? Yeah, Zeren. That's who we were talking about. That's the one where I said Okami made the comment of he should be attacked by a wild pack of dogs. And I said he's got the monastery bowl haircut, but with the absolute size of his sideburns. You know? That's what we were talking about, Kaya. Unless you were meaning someone else and not not Zeren? You would have to Google. All he has is a chipped tooth, lol. What's everyone's problem with his face? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with Zeren besides that. I didn't hear. You're not paying attention to me, Kaya. How dare you? Yes, he should. Oh my gosh, his hairstyle is the way he acts. I mean, Zeren does have one of those really smug faces just in general, so I can see it. It's just, he's also a scammer. No one likes Zeren, but I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, right? Maybe he comes back later and he has a better haircut, right? I don't know, my first impression of Zeren was a textbook example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, he's just like a immature guy trying to earn money, get rich quick scheme, and that was his entire deal. And then Lawrence is like, well, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. And Hollow is like, dude, Lawrence, why are you believing him? How do you know more about the market than he does, and you haven't heard rumors of this from your other merchant friends? And he's like, yeah, but maybe he has some kind of insider info that I don't have. Hollow is like, well, I'm the wisest wolf. You better listen to me, Lawrence. So, okay, but his acting has nothing to do with his face. Damn. Poor dude getting dogged on. Yeah, exactly. Zeren is just, I don't know, living a life of tragedy at this point. It's just my Wi-Fi. Or Kaya and her bad Wi-Fi. Lay sigh. We cringe on. I hope your Wi-Fi becomes better soon, Kaya. I don't know what else you can do about it. Or what else I can do about it in that case, either. I think you just have to work with having bad Wi-Fi. I do think his acting has to do with his face. The author decided to design him in that way. Yeah, because he never fully opens his eyes. I don't know what it is with designers or mangaka and making, like, making characters who never open up their eyes or never show off their eyes. But yeah, it's I think a clear indication for this guy is probably going to scam you, or probably going to deceive you in some way, you know? That's why I think it's a little bit deceptive. Like, I don't know, Lawrence, maybe you should have taken into account the fact that you can't see him blink at any point. Oh, you read my message like 3 minutes late? I didn't read your message 3 minutes late. Your Wi-Fi sent it in 3 minutes late. How dare you? Oh, like Brock or whatever from Pokemon? Yeah, exactly. But you know things are getting serious when they open their eyes. Exactly. That's how you know it's going down. It's going down. So true. The first panel you get to see him, you know, is he's a harbinger of drama. Yeah. Yeah, true. I feel like that's probably why they designed him to be the way he is, because you just see him interact and I don't know, kind of mess things up for everyone. So, yeah, pretty much. I do think, however, that Zarin is probably a good example of, like, showing how inexperienced Lawrence is as an actual merchant, because reminder, like, in the beginning, they establish that Lawrence's experience, or his expertise in general, relies mainly on him trading within his hometown. And he does travel to a lot of places between, but he's got most of his friends in Yoan, and that's why he knows, or why he even managed to meet Hollow in the first place. Because I think, unless I'm mistaken, isn't that his hometown? I might be misremembering, but for the sake of brevity, I think the implication with Zarin is meant to show that he doesn't have much experience with people who deceive him, as he's not much of a people person. He's more of a merchant by trade, and therefore has the knowledge of it, but not as much interaction or so. No, we never saw his hometown. Wait, let's see. Lawrence, Spice, and Wolf hometown. This is not a spoiler to me, so I'm gonna check. Okay, no, he's never revealed to have any specific named hometown. Okay, I see. I thought, okay, maybe I was under the impression that Yoan was his hometown. But yeah, he's otherwise very knowledgeable, just lacking in experience. It's, okay, maybe it's better to say Lawrence is, he has wisdom, not experience, and he has some intelligence. Hollow has little experience, a lot of intelligence, and is the wisest wolf. And that's kind of like the dynamic that they help each other out with trying to figure out how they can accompany or accommodate for each other's shortcomings. And you see some of their arguments later on in the series kind of like tackle elements of this, where they're like, oh, I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but some of the arguments that they do have are resolved really quickly, simply because Hollow admits to fault when she's wrong, and Lawrence apologizes, like, immediately after. I think that's one of the, and I'll go back to this as, like, a main point, but that's one of the things that I find really refreshing about Spice and Wolf, is just, like, immediately, as soon as Lawrence messes up, he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. That was me. That was entirely me. My bad, Hollow. I didn't mean to ruin things for us. Because there's one argument that they get into, and immediately he apologizes. Like, right after. He apologizes, and they just make up after it, by the end of it. So I really like that about Lawrence's character and his interaction with Hollow and everything as well. I think that just in general, the fact that they're able to get over their shortcomings and work together more as a team and whatnot, and trust each other, or learn to trust each other more and more, is a part of what makes Spice and Wolf so good, I think. Because they get to interact as much as they do, and it is like a slow burn romance, but it's also about... Because I think, while I do agree with the point made earlier as well, when Mr. Brown agreed, that Lawrence being afraid of Hollow whenever she turned into the wisest of wolves and the biggest of wolves, because she got that dog inside her. While it is a little bit lame that he was, like, so petrified and so afraid of Hollow, I feel like at the same time, you kind of learn throughout the story, because we have to account for this being the medieval ages. Like, him seeing something this supernatural, like out of his mind, a giant wolf that could bite down on him in a single second, even knowing that it's hollow, it would probably terrify him. This is like during the time where pagan witches were hunted, and heathens were hunted, and the church is like reigning with power in this fictional world. Though, I guess fictional slash based off of medieval Europe. In which case, yeah, there are a lot of elements of witch trials and people being hunted for disobeying or not following scripture and whatnot. So, with that in mind, like, I think it makes sense that Lawrence is not justifiably, but it makes sense why he's as afraid of Hollow as he is. Yeah, true. Yeah, at least I think so. I think so anyway. You can disagree with me. I just think that's my reasoning as to why Lawrence interacts the way that he does whenever he sees Hollow transform into her wolf form again. It's interesting, though, in the manga, when Hollow transformed for the first time, she never fully transformed. It was just one of her arms. He also wasn't afraid and touched the transform arm. Yeah, that's one of the big differences between the anime and the manga. He's like, he falls over petrified whenever he sees Hollow for the first time, half transformed or even marginally transformed. But whenever you get to reading the manga, I don't think he is as much. To confirm it was real. Yeah, he falls over backwards, and then she just steals a little bit of his beef jerky. And she's like, oh, that's so wasteful. You're really going to get rid of that? And then just decides to munch on it anyway. Like the hungry like the wolf she is. The wisest of wolves is also the hungriest of wolves. Either way, I still think Hollow is really cute. Now that we've spoken about Lawrence, what do you guys think of Hollow in that case? I know there's probably a lot to be said about Hollow. Not only because she's like one of the main characters, but also because of how cute she is, etc. But I really like Hollow, and if anything, I feel like the anime does a somewhat good way of pacing, even if the manga is like, oh well, it takes its time. It really takes its time, and it goes ahead with characterizing her and Lawrence, and I think it does that really well. However, I think that it's also really nice to see how Hollow changes as a result of Lawrence. Like again, don't know her age, but how she changes as a result of her learning to love and wanting to be accepted by Lawrence is really cute, I think. She's extremely cute, the wisest of wolves. I love her, right? We all love Hollow. I really love her, Kaya says. She's so cute and so helpful. With 20 different spelling mistakes in Kaya's writing. Yeah, I think so as well. Like I said in Discord, not only is she voiced by the same VA as Guillotine and Nikke, but also Rebecca in Resident Evil. I'm Rebecca! Yeah, exactly. You kept posting that. I think that's so funny. I also had no clue that it's the same VA for Guillotine, so that was a really big surprise to me. I do think it's quite curious how they decide to talk about Hollow being able to just turn into a wolf, because I know it's like, I know it's meant to be some sort of reveal and her learning about it, but at the same time, the isekai enjoyer or the fantasy enjoyer inside me is like, oh man, can't we just like have more scenes of her turning into a giant wolf and just attacking people? But at the same time, I know that would probably petrify Lawrence and he would like run away in fear from it. She also voices Ibuki Miyoda in Danganronpa 2. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, except I've barely played Danganronpa 2. What's also interesting is in the first few chapters of the manga, she looks much more childish than she does now after the kidnapping arc. Does she? I think that might just be a part of how the mangaka's style changes for the most part. Like if I go to, let's see, this late chapter, maybe? So it's just an art change. I think it's an art change. I don't think it's actually as a result of her looking older, because again, she's been that age for hundreds of years. And she just decides to change her form into that of a human one. It's not necessarily because of anything in particular. Like, if you watch the anime, that style change doesn't happen, which to me is implicative that it's not really a bodily change, it's just how the manga does it. Or sorry, how the manga does it. So, otherwise, we've spoken about Lawrence, we've spoken about Hollow. Any other characters that you guys think stood out to you personally? Except Scammer Boy Zarin. Who do you guys think stood out to you most as a part of the NPC cast? I know I called them an NPC cast, but like, it's not a game, it's just, yeah, whatever. You get what I mean, you get what I mean. What do you think stood out to you guys the most whenever it came to background characters and whatnot? Because I think, for me, besides Zarin, it's a really difficult question. I sent an example picture in Discord. Okay, let's see. Chapter 18 and Chapter 1. Yeah. I think it's in part because one of the mangakas wanted to emulate the style of the light novels, whereas the other mangaka just decided to go along with it. I'm not sure exactly what the internal reasoning is for it, but I imagine it must be something like that. Otherwise, I think, was it Chloe? I'm wondering which characters have been mentioned up to this point. Again, it's hard to remember, but I do like some of the characters that are brought up. I think the dynamic between... Oh no, that character comes up in like the second part. Never mind, I can't bring this up. The Malone Company head was really cool. I think the one that stands out for me is Chloe, aka the guard, or the guy in the manga, so not Chloe whenever it comes to the manga and whatnot, but yeah, just Chloe, but again, I don't like her. Yeah, Malone Company head was pretty cool. I like the some of the interactions that Lawrence has with the different trading companies. I don't remember their names. But whenever Hollow is getting kidnapped and then they have the bandits sicked on them, and Lawrence has to interact with the head there, that guy was pretty cool, as you say, cool. And I know there are a couple more that show up. In the, I don't want to call it the second part, but in like our next week watching / reading, I think there are a couple more characters that get introduced, which are pretty cool, which are more, I don't want to say integral to the plot, but integral to their arcs. Integral to their arcs, I think, is a better way to put it. I think those ones feel more important and will probably be more memorable once we get to it, because there are quite a few characters in general. There's specifically, and I don't think this is as much of a spoiler, but oh wait, no, never mind. He shows up. I just had to double check. Wise as well. He becomes way more significant later on, or at least has more interactions with Lawrence and Hollow. So Wise, I think, is also a pretty interesting and fun character. I know that he's like a womanizer, but at the same time, I think he's just a silly guy. And how Hollow kind of uses him to her advantage with like, oh yeah, by the way, Lawrence, these coins, they're actually not of the right weight, so they've begun to dilute it and whatnot, so they begin working together on that, I think. Malone is the one on their side, and there was a Medione or something, which was opposing party along with the guy from the beginning of the village. Yeah, something like that. It's very difficult, I find, to remember names of characters and people, but I generally get who it is you're talking about. I think. That long-haired guy, yeah, it seemed like he was going to play a bigger role in the future. He does. More like, I don't want to say he plays like a big role, so to speak, but he is one of Lawrence's friends that you see regularly, or more commonly throughout the entire series. Just because he's always there interacting with Lawrence. Again, he's a currency trader, which is how Lawrence, or why Lawrence keeps in contact and does interact with him. which is partly why, right? So that's why I think he's going to be... I hope you guys think he's one of the more memorable characters that we eventually get around to. I'm trying to think. I did write... Okay, so we've gone a bit through the characters and whatnot, and I say a bit, but it's already been like a full hour that we've spoken about this. My gosh. I feel like I could just keep talking about Spice and Wolf because there's just so much to go over. What about for the plot? What do you guys think about the plot and the setting? I don't know if I should have separated this or if I should have kept it, but how do you guys feel about it? Because I think one of the things that I quite enjoy about Spice and Wolf, which you also kind of do and don't see a lot about, is you do see a lot of medieval settings, but it feels like they're interpretive medieval settings. Like, you don't see them as well defined as I think Spice and Wolf does it. It's like, oh yeah, this place is famous for these traded commodities, this place trades with these kinds of coins, and it has like a full economy and a full system for it, which I actually quite appreciate, because it makes the world feel more alive or feel more realistic in that sense. Though I do feel like one of my main issues when it comes to world building as like a whole is that you don't really know what the world looks like without, say, a map or figuring out what places look like by having some kind of direction to it. I don't remember if the manga included a map, but I do like when it feels like you can be a part of the world in following where they're going and everything, and that's why I really like Hollow and Lawrence's travels, you know? You get to tag along and you get to see just how much they explore around the world and where they visit, as well as the different like destinations. I do kind of wish that it had a little bit more destination magic per se. Like, I like to attribute this to Mushishi, for instance, because there he's visiting a whole lot of fantastical locations. But I really wish that there were more times when Hollow and Lawrence just sat down and appreciated the view. So, slight tangent. If you guys like this type of economics and stuff, do you also enjoy Log Horizon for the politics and Maoyu Maoyusha, Og? I do. Actually, Log Horizon is one of my most favorite isekais. I love Log Horizon. And yeah, Maoyu Toyusha, I really, really enjoy as well. I was kind of conflicted if I was going to recommend that one or Spice and Wolf, because those two are like some of my ideals whenever it comes to fantasy situations. I think one of the difficulties, however, is that Mao Toyusha is kind of difficult to rewatch because I know what happens, and it's very love-centric, so it's like, oh yeah, they get together and I really enjoy that, but it doesn't feel very rewatchable. Isekai diluted fantasy world building, but here I haven't gone through enough to feel the whole world building yet. I think most of the world building is done in a somewhat unconventional sense, where they build it through the economics and like goods and products that each city or town offers, which I think is a kind of unique way of going about it. Like, very often, I think anyway, you see a whole lot of world building done through different locations and whatnot, and yeah, that is the very clear, straightforward way of going about it. But in Spice and Wolf, they decide to also have the take of it of, oh yeah, this place exists because of armor trade, this place exists because of wheat trade, where Hollow is from, this place exists because of this, etc. And I feel like that's a fun aspect to have in terms of world building. I think it would probably come out better if it had more location permanence, or at least so I can know where it all exists, but like still, you know? Yeah, but the red-haired female MC with the Giga arguments is more my type. Sure. For Log Horizon, I really like Season 1, but when Season 2 released years later, I couldn't even get through more than 3 episodes for some reason. I like Mao Toyusha. Sorry, I'll get to that in a second. I really like Mao Toyusha a whole lot because it's a fun dynamic to imagine, like, oh, this whole world is instead focused around maintaining war with the Demon Lord, and it turns into a romance because the hero realizes, oh, the entire reason why we're fighting is because humanity needs some kind of war effort in order to continue pumping in resources into the military and to kind of stimulate the economy even at the expense or the lives of people, and she wants to put a stop to that, and I think that's a really cute story in that sense. I think it's unique in that there's another manga which I wanted to recommend and what I was looking for that apparently doesn't have an anime adaptation, which I'm really sad by, and it's called, I think it was Superior. It's about a hero on the quest to slay the Demon King, and the Demon King turns out to be one of his companions. But the Demon King follows him through and thinks of him as, like, interesting to figure out why the hero is so dead set on trying to murder her. And then it turns into a love story, where gradually she begins to fall in love with the hero. So it's like Mao Toyusha, except it's at the beginning of the hero's journey instead of, like, near the end of it. And I really like that one as well. I think that one's also really good. As for Log Horizon, I don't really remember how the whole second season was. I remember loving, like, most of it because, oh my gosh, I just wanted more. I really, really wanted more of Log Horizon, since it feels like we don't really get a whole lot of realistic isekai shows that focus a lot more on how the structure of the world works and how characters should behave now that they have to accept it's their new world. Like, I feel in Sword Art Online, as probably the most straightforward example, you often see that, like, the characters never really accept that they're going to live where they are forever. Like, yeah, they do think, oh, we're stuck in here, but inevitably they believe that they'll get out. In Log Horizon, they're just like, oh, actually, I'm stuck here now. I'm stuck here forever, and now I just have to I have to come to terms with that. And I enjoyed that much more. I think I eventually began to read the light novel for it, but I eventually stopped. I don't remember where I got to it. Oh, I love Afterworld Domination. Oh, I love Afterworld. Oh, okay, that's an anime. That's the anime you recommended. Sorry, I was so confused. I was like, wait, what does he mean? Love Afterworld Domination does that for the superhero genre. The MC is basically Red Ranger, as in Kamen Rider or Power Ranger. Yep. And the love interest is the evil organization boss's daughter or something like that. And yes, they happen to go to the same high school, I think. That sounds really good. I'm curious, however, if it's gonna be up my alley nonetheless, because, I don't know, there has to be some action to it. But I'm very familiar with, like, whole Kamen Rider and whatnots whenever it comes to Sentai shows like that. I'm not, like, averse to Sentai shows or whatever. It's just that I never really watched a whole lot of Sentai. Oh, I recommended Madoka Magica, though? Yeah, but you were talking about it earlier. As one of the ones that I think you said you might recommend, and that's how I remembered it. But yeah, exactly. You recommended Become Madoka, Become Maguka Magica. Just Death and Despair, the show, because I want to watch it again with all the perspective I gained over the years. I'm trying to think. I think I last watched it in, like, 2016. It's been ages since I watched Madoka. Sorry, took a bit of a tea break. Yeah. Oh, wait, make an offering? Yeah, we'll just upgrade. I think, at least for me, when it comes to superhero stuff, I'm not really well versed with it. I would probably have to double check if there's anything that I actually know of, but I wasn't really fussed about it. I just thought to myself, you know what, it's probably fine. It's probably fine that everyone else makes a recommendation instead, because I really do not know. I really do not know what I should pitch for that. I do not like this event, but at least it lets me upgrade a whole bunch of times for pretty cheap. I'm not too familiar with the superhero genre. I think I've mentioned this just in general before. Mainly because it never really appealed to me. So, but yeah, also... But yeah, so Love Afterworld Domination is basically a Romeo and Juliet type rom-com with a superhero spin on it. I'm just curious. Love after world domination. Does it actually have, like, any action to it? Because I think it has to have some level of action slash drama for me to feel interested, because it's usually a bit difficult to get into it otherwise if it's just slice of life and whatnot. Yeah, I think they fight like every episode. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll put that on my backlog in that case. Now I'm curious if I suggest that as mine. Similar to how Rosario plus Vampire did it, I think. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad then. I just don't know, I suppose. Again, I would probably need to look into it. I like researching everyone's suggestions before I make any kind of decision. That's more or less who I am. I mean, you could recommend it even though you didn't see it. Yeah, I've done that for a couple of the ones. Or one. I've done that for one. Because I read a little bit of Moshishi, and then I never really watched it. So I wanted to do that, because it's technically on my backlog. So yeah, I'll maybe do that. I need to research it more, figure out if it's actually something that I want to recommend, or if it's something that I'm just making up that I want to recommend, you know? Otherwise, I think that's probably it for the Spice and Wolf discussion, though, right? But how are you guys feeling? Is it something that you want to watch slash read the second season of, or how do you guys feel with it so far? Do you feel like it's very satisfying? Like, I know we spoke a little bit about overall ideas, but after the discussion, do you feel like you've had a different change in perspective, or something you feel like you've begun to appreciate more in retrospect now that we're talking about it, or what you're looking forward to? Actually, that should be one of the points. I'll write that as well. What are you looking forward to? What do you want more of? I want to watch more, even to season 2. Yeah, we'll see if those feelings persist. I really like it, and I would be more than happy to continue into season 2, because my gosh, it's just endless amounts of the wisest wolf content. Actually, I'll include this as what do you want more of? Since I think Spice and Wolf, it's kind of an interesting case where an anime gets a remake in the first place, you know? Because it already finished, but it getting a 2024 adaptation is quite surprising. Just like in general, right? Usually, or very rarely, that doesn't happen. So I'm curious why that came to be, and it did kind of revitalize the love for the show, just in general, which I'm quite fond of. For now, it's good, but I'll need to see the next few chapters if I want to continue, or if it feels more like a chore in the end. Yeah, I hope you do enjoy it. I am late, my head was killing me. No worries, Okami. We actually were just finishing up or wrapping up discussions about Spice and Wolf, but you can see a little bit of what we spoke about. In fact, I will... Let's see. How do you do sub-bullet points in Markdown? How was that again? Sub-bullet point Markdown. How do you do nested? There we go. Nested. You need to do a tab, I think. Oh, but I thought I was trying tab, but then it just bumps me out of it. Oh, okay. Annoying. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that do it? Okay. Who was... Wait, I can't see. OBS, what do you look like? What do you look like, OBS? I just want to try write down what discussion we had, Okami, so you can kind of follow along. Okay, no. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so I'll give you a quick rundown, since we're, like, wrapping up discussion. We're on the last 2 points, which is what do you want more of and what do you look forward to? And then, should we keep reading it? Should we keep reading / watching it season 2? So some of the points that we went over with the characters was we discussed each of the characters individually, aka Lawrence and Hollow. We said that Lawrence, I think, at least in my opinion, he's a smart character, but who lacks experience, and that's why Hollow kind of makes up for that, since she's the wisest wolf, and therefore can help out Lawrence, where he lacks those skill sets, because he's quite naive, all in all. which means that he does get deceived like we see with Zeren. So Hollow is really cute. I didn't expect that kind of energy from the anime, to be honest. Why were you not expecting that kind of energy? That's my question. Hollow is not only the wisest wolf, but also the cutest wolf. So why did you think that you wouldn't be getting that? I mean, the reason why I say this, right, is because I recommended this as a romance. So I kind of chose it because Hollow is very cute, and she does have a lot of, like, wholesome moments, and really does just love teasing Lawrence and wanting to be there for him at the same time. I'm assuming Okami wasn't expecting the drama with the kidnapping. Perhaps? What do you mean, Okami? What in your mind do you feel was unexpected when you compared it to your... Oh, actually, that should be one of the questions that we do. Did your impression change after starting? What impressions did you have by the cover of the anime/manga? I think those are a couple of questions are pretty good. We can probably... And yes, I'm writing this so that I can reuse it later. I'm writing it so I can reuse it later for my other ones. I'm curious how your opinion then shifted between them. Nah, the cutest wolf is Fenris. Why do I recognize that name? Fenris. Anime. Let's see. Chilling in Another World. Are you? Oh wait, no, I recognize her. You mean Fenris, the ice wolf, or the Fenrir girl, aka Fenris instead of Fenrir? Is that who you mean, Okami? Or am I mistaken and assuming that you're talking about Chilling in Another World? Okay, yeah, exactly. White-haired Fenrir in the Chilling. Yeah, I've watched that one as well. Why do you think? I don't think that's true. I think Hollow is a cuter wolf than her. I very much think so. Where the MC is yet again OP. Very much so. Very much so. I think it was a little bit boring outside of his interactions with Fenris. So I only watched... I think I read the entire thing just for her, and that was it. I didn't like the rest of it. It was kind of boring as a result. So those are just my thoughts on it. Please get the critical here. In general, though, I think Hollow was is probably one of my favorite wolf girls in just anime in general. I would need to think a little bit more if I would qualify her as the best, but I can for sure say she is the wisest. I wasn't expecting any of the themes in this, to be honest. I was expecting it to be far more slice of lifey, but I was told that it was a sad anime years ago. Okay, we had a poll on this. Do you think that Spice and Wolf is a slice of life anime, or do you think that it's more drama and therefore not slice of life? What do you think about it, Okami? Because I think don't bully me, Mr. Brown. I just mispronounced, okay? Do you think... Because I think, personally, Spice and Wolf is a slice of life. It just has some drama elements to it. I think that large parts of Spice and Wolf are slice of life interactions, because the reason why the drama even comes as a result is mostly because, yes, of Hollow, but otherwise a large part of it is about the daily lives of Lawrence as a merchant, which, like, makes sense to me, that it's slice of life to him, but it's probably not slice of life in the typical sense because it's a merchant's daily life. So... Well, I mean, they make the MCs OP in those stories to take away from the tension and action elements. Yeah, but I don't like it. I know it's meant to be wish fulfillment and whatnot, but I feel like if you don't have any kind of struggle, and your story is just very cookie-cutter, that it doesn't really have much meaning. Like, I know that you can enjoy something without there being much stakes to it, but at the same time, there is, like, no build-up to Fenris liking him besides him being super strong, but he was super strong by cheats and not by effort or by virtue of him trying to get really strong. He just ended up like that. So I thought it would be slice of life as well. Didn't think it would go so deep into scheming and plots. I think it has some of those. It has a lot of, like, intellectualism, I think. I love how this dragon spazzes out. I don't think Slice and Wolf is Slice of Life. I don't see drama and Slice of Life as exclusive. What parts of it do you think make it not Slice of Life in that case? Because I still think it has, like, a majority of Slice of Life elements to it. I do think it's Slice of Life. Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think because it has a whole bunch of daily life elements to it, that it is Slice of Life. Wait, let's see. I think it's a drama with some Slice of Life elements as breaks, but I'll need to read more to confirm that. That's probably fair. I think it's just how I define Slice of Life. Because again, what can I say is being the daily life of a merchant, right? In the medieval ages, like, if you were to picture yourself as a merchant in medieval times, what does the daily life of a merchant look like? I would say it probably looks like Lawrence's, except now you've got Hollow included, which makes it a little bit more fantastical, sure, but I don't think that detracts from this being somewhat situations that he would have handled with. My fat self would have eaten all of the wheat? You would make sure Hollow disappears by eating all of the wheat? Just turn it into hollow bread? Hollow purple? What? Hollow bread. I want Zarin to go bald. That's an interesting threat to make to Zarin. I don't know if I should say poor Zarin because, you know, he kind of contributed to the loss of some of Lawrence's Trenny, aka the currency from Yowen, or the Kingdom of Trenny. So, yeah, I agree, but at the same time, wishing for a man to go bald, you know that he's just gonna, like, end up working in the church if he goes bald at that young of an age. Since it's medieval times and whatnot, he's already got be me, be merchant, get lots of wheat, mix dirt into the wheat to make more money, eat the leftover wheat. I don't think you can mix in dirt into your wheat and still earn a profit. Besides, wouldn't it make more sense to have Hollow stick around and then sell all those really expensive furs? But I don't know. I think Lawrence should have kept one of the furs. I'm just saying, it smells like Hollow. It smells like Hollow. So he probably should have kept one. You lack imagination. No, I just don't think I want to mix in dirt with wheat and rip people off in that way. I think that's more my argument here. That's more or less why I'm saying this. Oh. Well. Look, I managed to beat a run. I don't want wheat, period. I could probably... I would probably be fine if it were made into bread, but that's about it. Oh, if I had Hollow there, I'd use her to sniff out truffles and wild boars. You've got a very active imagination, I'll say that. So, Kambi, I'll say that. Have her sniff out truffles. I don't think... I mean, pigs have better noses for sniffing out truffles and whatnot. And then eat the wheat. No, don't eat the wheat at all. You could have all of the furs and then just have hollow smelling furs, and then whenever you sell those, you'd gain like way more profit. I think so anyway. And also you get a cute wolf girl to follow along with you. Why would you not want that? In fact, I would hold on to the wheat. I would begin to cultivate yet more wheat so that Hollow could traverse the world, you know? Carbohydrates. No. What do you mean it's mostly empty, okay? It was mostly empty carbohydrates. Eat blue flavor. No. Chloe was also pretty darn cute. Yeah, except for the part where she tried to get Hollow arrested and then kill her. You know? That part kind of sucked. You're empty car. No! Chloe's bad. Chloe is... lay bad. How dare you? Chloe is... She wanted to get rid of the wisest of wolves. What do you think would have happened if we lost Hollow? That's right, nothing good. Nothing good would have come out of that. That's why Chloe is Lebad. Shame I don't know who this Chloe girl is. You know the guard or one of the townsfolk or whatever that Lawrence knows? So, Chloe ... is poop. Yeah, Chloe is poop. Chloe is one of the townspeople or whatever that tries to get Hollow convicted and turn her over into the church. So that's it. I don't remember if in the manga they're consistent with the character that tries to turn Hollow in, but in the anime they characterize and dump it all on Chloe. They're like, oh yeah, Lauren's kind of like this one village girl, Chloe, and however, uh, she then shows up and doesn't like Hollow and decides to try and convince Lawrence that he should give up Hollow, turn her into the church, and let Hollow basically be executed by the church. Even though she would come back to life because she lives and breathes by the wheat. She's cute poop, though. No, she's very questionable poop. So, yeah, that girl doesn't exist in the manga. Yeah, exactly. In the manga, it's Yare. Yare Daze? So true. Yeah, who is a friend from the village. Yeah, it's just that she's basically... Or Yare has been changed into a girl, for the most part. We then spoke a bit about Lawrence. Is she cute? No, that's a guy. It's a guy. It's no longer a girl in the manga. So... It's not who you think it is. Ew. Priorities straight. Exactly. Maybe the anime is superior just because it has more cute girls as a result, you know? Then we spoke about the characters. I said that Lawrence, I think, while he is intelligent, he lacks experience and he is naive, but he's got a lot of, like, merchant/economic smarts. And that, I think, is pretty good, or pretty nice about him. The only thing that I didn't like, but feel can be justified, is how Lawrence feared Hollow turning into her giant wolf form. In which case, I was like, why? You know it's her, but at the same time, if we're looking at this through the lens of a medieval peasant who has been told by the church his entire life that any pagan or evil... deity is there to ruin his life, and she turns into a giant, like, 3-man tall wolf and just begins to chomp down and eat people. Yeah, I can kind of understand where he's coming from in terms of his fear for Hollow at that point in time. So, makes sense, but at the same time, Yare Daze. You know what I mean? Then for the plots and the setting, I said that it's kind of unique. At least I think so. It's quite unique how Spice and Wolf decides to characterize or world build every single one of the different environments and locations more by the trade and merchantry rather than like the geolocation of things. It's like you usually look at... Oh my gosh, I can never get the question marks. You can look at a map, a giant world map in a fantasy setting, like any given kind, and you can kind of get world building from that, but how Spice and Wolf decides to characterize it is by having them discuss the economics and trade of different places. So, like, you know of the different coins, how counterfeit currency works in the world, and I think that's pretty cool. The first time her giant wolf form is shown in the manga is at the end of the kidnapping arc. Yeah, it's done somewhat the same in the anime, except there are some flashback scenes in the anime where you can see Hollow turn into her giant wolf form. That's like one of the differences that you see throughout is that the flashback scenes will feature Hollow as just being her wolf form, or like, for context, show her interacting with the first ever human, which is how she became the goddess of the harvest, or the goddess of wheat. And she was like, oh yeah, I was just asked by this boy while I was in my wolf form to do it. but I think the series follows her as her first time manifesting in her like semi-human form, and I say semi because she's got kimono Mimi features. I'm just gonna be real. I think that if gods exist and they were chill, they should be left alone. I'm just a little upset there are no magic spells or anything like that. Mumky. While I kind of agree, I think the whole setting is meant to be more focused around medieval Europe and its settings, rather than like the fantasy of it. I imagine, and you kind of I don't want to spoil anything, but we kind of get into some arcs like this later on in the anime and the manga. So that topic is touched upon, that you're talking about, Okami. Because I do think I agree to some extent, but it's during a period of time where they're like, oh, there be witches here, and how do we handle them? Which is, well, a question that is discussed most part each shot. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm taking that one. I love the pumpkin pie one, which I think is pretty fun. I really like the whole centering around. Oh, Pebble. I really like the centering around all of the different medieval Europe elements, and also how it talks about the economy and whatnot, because I don't think there's a whole lot of economics discussions in a majority of anime or shows or whatnot. I actually don't agree at all. It's more historical in that sense that it's a story about the old gods or pagan gods versus the church, as far as I can tell from where I'm currently at. Well, yeah, the church is trying to get rid of them, but it does discuss the fact that magic or these things exist, and then it tries to get rid of them. Or do you mean you don't agree in the sense that you would want to see more of it, like what Okami was saying? The people that would be able to use magic or spells would be demon-possessed girls, as they call them. Yeah, and that's what I'm meaning. One of the future arcs that you get into is about a girl who is said to be using magic, and the whole point of the kidnapping arc is because they believe that Hollow is demon-possessed and whatnot. So I agree with both of you in that sense. I don't think it's like an agree-disagree situation with whether or not both can exist at the same time. I think that spells maybe do exist, or magic does exist since Hollow does, unless it's like strictly limited to gods. But at the same time, I feel like with the manga in its entirety, it kind of goes over it in a way that I think focuses a lot on like medieval Europe and their traditions while trying to, or sorry, using it as inspiration. It's not like one-to-one pulling medieval Europe and saying, yeah, by the way, here's this really cute anime girl as a wolf, and she's just like adorable and knows everything because she's the wisest wolf. It's not just like that. It also has some nuance, but yeah. If the witches are cute, leave them be. If they're ugly, cast them into the sea. You can't make a rhyme and just have it be true, Okami, okay? That's, no, not how it works. Yes, so I'm not disappointed or mad that we didn't see any magic so far. Yeah, that's fine. I think more so my wanting or discussion of magic in Spice and Wolf is like, I like the idea that they're not really sure if it exists or whatnot. Because again, these are like peasant ideas and whatnot that I think are fun to play around with. Like the whole idea or concept of magic existing being like this thing that's prevented by the church, but at the same time, like you see Hollow being able to transform and she has like some shapeshifter magic nonsense going on, I think is like a fun way to characterize it, but I would want to see more. Just in general, because I do like Hollow and some of the quote unquote magic that we get to see, or the pagan influence, so to speak. I understand that thematically, but I just feel like the presence of a wolf spirit should imply more magic / supernatural things IMO. Maybe. I can, to an extent, agree, but I feel like it's one of those isolated cases where the only magic that exists are those that are of chosen people and not for or by everyone. That makes sense. like, the only reason we see magic is because of Hollow, but we don't know if it exists because some of the characters that are described to be able to use magic, we aren't sure are using magic. Nor do we get, like, any hard confirmation. Yeah, it could still end up being just the church and brain dead people are accusing people that disagree with them and witches to gain more power themselves. Yeah. Actually, that is basically how medieval Europe worked. They were just like, oh yeah, we can't allow them to live, let's just say they were a witch, and use that as justifiable cause to get rid of them in their entirety. Just like, bye-bye. Okay, you don't exist now. My rhymes dictate truth, now you will have a swollen tooth. No! No! Tweedledee, Tweedledum, I'm going to give... I'm going to make you run on a treadmill for 72 hours. Let's see. I'm assuming we'll see a bit more along the way, and most of it, if it happens, will happen when they finally reach the northern forest where Hollow is from, I assume. Yep, most likely. Again, we don't really get that far in both the manga or the anime, so I'm not sure where we'll go with it, but because I don't remember exactly where the anime or the manga ended, which is why I feel like it would be really interesting to see, and that's probably one of the things that I would write down is like, I don't know how much I want to spoil again, because now I'm like half forgetting up until which point that I watched, but I would really like to see more of just like the wolves and why Hollow has these powers. How she can influence the harvest of Yowen and so on. True. I'm looking forward to it. I hope there are more wolf girls. You don't have to look forward to it. There are. No bars, no rhymes. Yeah, I can't rap. Okay, I can't do that. It's just not a part of me. Otherwise, let's see. Have you? This wizard's beats are a crime. Yep. Have you read the manga? No. Well, yes, to an extent, but also no. I read parts of it for the manga, but I never read the entire manga. So, I never fully finished it. It's only 100 chapters, so I'm not sure if they actually end up reaching the Northwood. Now I am almost at chapter 20. I haven't read the entire thing, so I really couldn't say. I read, like, at most, and this, again, was, like, 10 years ago at least. I read up to where Spice and Wolf Season 1 ended with the manga ages and ages ago. Again, in 2016, I think it was about. No bars, no rhymes. I think Okami is live. I can't do this at the same time as streaming, okay? I can't do this at the same time. You can sit there behind your keyboard and think to yourself, oh, this is a great rhyme to use. But I can only sing-song things. I don't know. Whenever I make rhymes, it doesn't really come to me as naturally as when I sing. But at the same time, singing gives me time to think of what I say next. But whenever I speak quite fast. So it's quite difficult. And no, I'm not making excuses. I'm just really based. I'm not making things up. This is just how I am. But I do hope you guys are enjoying Spice and Wolf nonetheless. What? Oh yeah, and then Okami, you joined when we were talking about what do you want more of and what we were looking forward to, but I think we've kind of covered that now. We've kind of covered it. Also, I think I recall you mentioning that you had a suggestion for a superhero manga, but you haven't put it in the suggestions channel. So don't forget to do that. I kind of am going to close the suggestions channel, like maybe a couple of hours. Maybe a couple of hours after stream ends. I write poetry, rhyming is like blinking. If I use harder words, there'll be more thinking. Sure. That's very rudimentary poetry. Yes. I don't suppose you write an iambic pentameter, do you? Probably not. You probably do ABAB rhymes for your entire life, or AABB rhymes. Yeah. Look at this charlatan trying to use rhymes and witty humor, except he can only write in 2 forms of poetry. How dare you? How dare you insinuate that I can't do the same? I think if I was put down and told that I have to make rhymes, I could probably do it, but streaming, gaming, and keeping track of everything at the same time? Yeah. Well, let's just say that I've got a lot more to my mind than doing that. I don't know. All excuses, by the way. All excuses. Maybe I'll get better one day, or I'll remember how to rhyme. Unfortunately, I never did my AB3s, so it's never stuck with me since, and that's why. I also have a little bit of an update, Oh wait, Okami, as well. You probably haven't seen that Trap this wizard in a cheetah costume for 3 years. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! But I was gonna mention, Okami, I don't know if you've noticed, but you've got a little badge and everything. One of the new things that I've set up, as well as thank you so much, CoSound, for all of the emotes and everything. There are a whole bunch of emotes to the channel now, but you also have a badge by your name. Isn't that so cute? I just figured I should mention it since I don't think you've been here since I made like all of the changes and updates to everything on stream. I'm still otherwise outside of stream working on like some kind of mod pack for for RimWorld to implement so we can all play around with it, because I think it would be funny to add everyone or each chatter as like a as a colonist, and have them roam around so I can turn you all into nuggets and fight in the Coliseum. No, I'm kidding. So you can all survive the hardships of Randy Random and his decision to summon a whole bunch of dropships right after each other and summon like 5 raids right after each other. Truly. I love Randy Random. Favorite director, by the way. Can you... No. Why do you default to blue flavor? Is this like programmed behavior of you? Why did you immediately decide that was going to be the first? You could have posted anything else. Why that one? Why that one? But yeah, as like a summary to... Because I'm looking over my notes here again. As a summary for this week's AniManga or AniManga Club discussion slash stream slash figuring out what's going on, we'll potentially be continuing with Spice and Wolf. We'll be continuing with the rest of Season 1 for this week, so don't forget that you have to finish up until episode 12 for this next Sunday. Chud Wizardlit is weak to blue flavor. I'm not weak to blue flavor. It's just not a flavor. It's just not a flavor. I don't know what the insinuation is here, but it's very much not a flavor. It's not even real. It's just something made up. It's just propaganda. Okay? Just propaganda. But make sure you watch slash read up until the episode 12, which I reckon is about 25, chapter 25 for the manga. Then I will be closing off the AniManga Club discussion, or suggestions, not the discussion, the suggestions for end of stream, or rather end of today, so I'll give it like more hours until it's end of day for me, and then I'll do it. So don't worry about that, you'll still have some hours after stream to make your superhero suggestion. Then, whenever we get to the round of voting, I'm curious because Helios, you said we should separate it into 2 different votes, whether or not we continue watching Season 2 slash reading Season 2 of Spice and Wolf, or whether or not we should continue on to something else, or move on to something else. And while I do want to kind of separate it, in my mind, the time schedule doesn't really line up, because I would have to do 1 week. I try to have 1 entire week for people to vote or make suggestions. And if I do 1 week of deciding on whether or not we continue, that means that we'll have nothing if we decide to move on, which is a little bit of a complication. So maybe what ends up having to be the case is we have to include it this time, and then the next time I can try work around a schedule for it. I think that's probably the better decision, or the best decision, because I only make the smartest of decisions, because I receive my feedback and advice from Hollow, the wisest of wolves. In which case, yeah, we'll be closing suggestions, opening up the voting, and then one of the options, instead of starting the superhero genre or the superhero decision is to vote for continuing Spice and Wolf, and then we'll see how that works. I think that's probably the best. Otherwise, how is everyone's weekend? What are you guys going to do? What is your week looking like? Mine, so far, I need to work more on some of the shorts and whatnots. See some of the behind the scenes and whatnot. I'm thinking, because Wednesdays are usually like semi-events, or I try to make them like something unique in terms of variety as opposed to just streaming Resident Evil every single day. Which is why I'm streaming like Peglin now, so that there's some variety to the content and so I can discuss things at the same time. But what is the week looking for you guys? And is there anything in particular that you want to see me do? Because we had this like bring your chat to work day where we were editing a video together. Is there something like that that you would want to see? Also, I don't know if you were here. Also, I should just make an announcement for it. I should make an announcement for it in the Discord server because it would probably be easiest. But at the end of every month, I'm going to create a compilation of all of the clips made that month. I'm going to try limit the amount of clips so we can filter out for some of the ones that are like the best or the most fun or whatever. So it's not just like anything and everything random that happens or whatever gets clipped. In which case I will filter through some of those, so it will only be like funny ones, of course. And I'll make a monthly compilation for that that goes up onto the main channel. It'll be a little bit less edited, but I think it's a fun way of having you guys contribute to videos and whatnot by you deciding what you want instead of... Because I'm making shorts every day anyway, in which case we can just use these longer form videos if you want to catch up on some of the streams that you missed that month. Roses are red, you blasphemous faker. With enough time, we'll convert even you to the Church of Blue flavor. No. Not happening. What? I'll change the first line to I am your prophet instead? No! None of these things. Why are you guys so convinced that blue is a flavor? It's not. My goodness, guys. I'm not convinced. Do me a favor. Try me now, but blue is not a flavor. A stream of you eating blue Jolly Ranchers, drinking blue Gatorade, and eating blue jelly beans? No. No. What? No. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. If you ever want me to do something like that, it would have to be... At 1,000 followers, I'll do it. Describe the flavor of each. It's probably all just... Yeah, you know what? Sure. I'll do something like that for a much higher follower stream. I want to see that. Of course you do, because you think it gives you validation. That's what you think happens. But I'm promising you, blue is not a flavor. It absolutely is not a flavor. So don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. We're not going to test that. No, stop with the emojis as well. What are we doing? Otherwise, I think I'm trying to think of like future events and whatnot. My dear Aug, it's easier than you think, but if you don't fancy blue, can I convince you of pink? No. Nope. Wizard Chud must obey his wizardlings? No, I'm not gonna obey you guys. You're my apprentices. You are all my apprentices. You don't get to decide for me whether or not I think of blue as a flavor. It's not a flavor, and we're not going to have this like whole roundabout discussion of it because it isn't. It isn't a flavor, and I will forever refuse to accept that because it's not true. I will not accept falsehoods into any aspect of my life. Therefore, henceforth, blue is not a flavor. Never. Never will be. We outnumber you? Yeah, but in terms of IQ, I outnumber you massively, even all of you combined. Exactly. Blue flavor gang assembled? No. Nope. Dude, really? 2 mimics in a row? A stream where you teach us magic spells? I feel like that would be Arx Fatalis. He just called us stupid? You just realized? Tear out his... You guys are rabid. You guys are rabid. You're like Rayman raving rabbids. My goodness. Did he just, like, level up as well? I think I'm gonna lose to this Mimic, because he showed up 2 times in a row. Relentless, genuinely. Yeah, but for... Oh, gosh. I feel like I've made a couple of promises. You guys are gonna need to keep track of what I said for some of my promises, because now I've said at 1,000, I would do a blue flavor taste test video. But I think I've also made a couple of other promises for different types of videos I'd be making as well. Haven't I? For 1,000? Imagine being a wizard and losing to a Mimic. He's not even peak wife free run. I'm not an elf. I may have lived for, like, a long while, but I'm not an elf. Also, I'm not gonna lose. Watch this. Watch this one, nerd. Look at this! I'm winning! You, stay losing. Stay mad. Stay mad. You're losing. Stay mad. I'm supreme. I'm supreme. I will reign supreme forever. Target attacks also hit nearby enemies. Ooh. I think we'll do this one just in case there's a AoE, because I don't think I deal a whole lot of AoE damage. See? No dying. No damage. Long while. Okay, Unk. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not an Unk. It's just... You know, I drank from the fountain of eternal youth, and now here I am, rock you like a hurricane. So, stay mad, I suppose. I'm never gonna give away anything. It's just eternal youth. That's just who I am. That's how I am. Eternal pooth. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Eternal pooth what? I would never. You know, I feel like you do me an absolute disservice, Okami. I don't know what it is about you, but anytime you show up, you talk about all these weird, evil things like pulling out toenails, about making voodoo dolls of people, and suddenly you want magic in a pagan world. I'm beginning to think that you're a witch. I'm beginning to think that you're a bit of a witch, Okami. You're not convincing me that you're one of my apprentices. I think you're a witch. Witch! Witch! Why don't we test this? We'll see if you're a witch. Do you float is the question. I'm going to be tying an anchor to your ankle. And we're going to see, do you float or not? Will you survive or not? If I were a witch, would I be a cute one? No, I'm thinking you'd be more like a hag from D&D. You know? I think that's more... He's going to kill me. I'm not going to kill you. I'm just... You know, we're following the 2 rules of law here. We tell each other stories, and I decide who's right and who's wrong. And that's the justice system, because it's just us. Or, in this case, just me. So, not going to stand for any of this witch propaganda, okay? Famous little wizards, apparently blessed with eternal youth, yet can't even conceive the almighty flavor blue. I think it's you guys that are unwilling to accept the truth that blue flavor just does not exist. I think you're just deluded by some... You know what? You've probably been charmed by a witch. I think that's why this is happening. Don't worry, guys. I'll save you. Foolish Twinkzerd executes innocent wizardling for no good reason. It's apprentice, by the way. And also, it's not... I'm not a Twinkzerd. None of these... You suck so much. Why? Why? What is with this for any reason that you can conceive for any of these things to be true? It must be the doings of a witch. No one in their right mind would say this to my face. You would not utter such a spell in front of me had we met off the ley lines. You should know I'm a witch ever since I talked about the broom I need to buy. That's probably true. But I was thinking more Okami was one. Not you. Not you, Helios. Now I feel a little bit betrayed. Because what am I meant to do if you're a witch? I'll be like, all by myself. So I will have like no more apprentices left. He hates What do you mean? I'm trying to get rid of this witch propaganda that you guys have begun to instill in new people to the channel and onto each other. Like blue flavor, or what was it, Twinkzerd? And no longer, and referring to yourselves as wizardlings. That's something a witch would say. That's not something a true apprentice of Auger Rondel would say. The great, famous Auger Rondel. How dare you? Dare you? Can't even be appreciative of all the classes in magic and wizardry that I've so generously allowed you to study under my tutelage. Actually, a witch would call her sweet. No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. You would have your toenails removed and thrown into a pot. You would then be forced to eat lizard for 2 weeks straight, and you would have whatever comes about of you, to put it lightly, your stool sample, be taken and used in some kind of weird cauldron concoction, okay? I'm not falling for this witch propaganda. It's not true. Witches would treat you terribly. Us wizards, however, we don't treat our apprentices terribly. And she'd give us warm honey milk and sweet bread. No, she wouldn't. She would throw you into a cauldron and leave you in the woods to fend for yourself. No, no. None of these things. This is witch propaganda, and I don't stand for it. No witches allowed. No witches allowed. This is wizard territory. This is wizard territory. How dare you? You were supposed to be my apprentices, and yet here you are. Here you are, insinuating all of these false ideologies of the witch cult. Wizards don't treat their wizard. No, I would never have treated you like this if you were my apprentice. However, you insist that you are a wizardling. But that's not correct. You should be my apprentice. And yet here we are, arguing. You should treat your master with more respect, Okami. Maybe then you'll come to learn. Then you will learn that your actions have consequences. Your actions will have consequences. I think we were all taught how wizards treat their apprentices by the Disney movie. Which one? Which one do you think has been teaching you? True, Disney never lies. This fictional media has never once lied to me. But, you know, this is probably a pretty good place to stop. I know, unfortunate, tragic even, that this is where we've ended up, but it is about that time. I hate that one Wish movie. I don't remember seeing it. The one featuring Mickey Mouse as the apprentice. Yeah, well, all of my apprentices are treated exceptionally well, except when they begin to bring in witch propaganda into my stream and begin to insist upon spreading libel and slander. We don't follow witch propaganda, we follow the teachings of the wise wizards that came before us, aka me, because I'm here before you. Otherwise, that is the end of stream. Today, we discussed a lot of Spice and Wolf. We discussed the first 6 episodes, aka the first approximately 15 chapters or whatnot of it. We spoke about various different points, such as... Let me check before I forget. Give me a second. We spoke about what impressions we had. We spoke about how our impressions have changed. We've spoken about some of the characters, the plot, the settings, what we want more of, and what we look forward to, and whether or not we should continue reading/watching it. Next stream, which is tomorrow at the exact same time, I will be playing some Resident Evil 4 Remake, to which I hope you guys join in on. Let's see. Let's go through some of the messages before I end stream. Isn't it the teacher's fault if the students fall for propaganda? Nope, I'm just here to try teach and remove said propaganda from you, but you insist against this. Make a book about wizardry then? I have. Every single spell book that you see has its author written by me. You exist within my tower. True, hold... No, I'm trying to teach you guys that blue is not a flavor, and yet you keep insisting on spreading this propaganda. You can't just say, oh, I'm not convinced, therefore it's your fault. No, it's you guys who refuse, okay? It's you guys, not me. I've been trying to rewire how you've seen this propaganda, because blue is not a flavor, and we don't follow witch teachings here. But that is the end of stream. thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for your messages, for you lurking, for your participation in any shape or form. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for some Resident Evil 4 remake. It's been quite fun, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend or a wonderful start of your week. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Stop with the blue flavor posting. How dare you? Anyways, bye-bye.